So it is Monday, the beginning of the week here in the Transformer world, and we're going to jump into yet again another Transformer Slag podcast Patreon listener question. Once again, if you want to be part of the Transformer Slag podcast Patreon, help support the podcast. Let us know we're doing a half-decent job here in the Transformer world, keeping you educated, entertained, and informed in our hobby. Patreon.com/Protoman, or check the pinned comment or the description below. Clickety-click, come join us. What does it get you? Gets your name in the end credits scroll at the end of every segment, access to our exclusive Discord where we break the news, share lore, and most importantly, share deals and sales. Save money on your hobby. Don't spend full price on your Transformers. Save that money. And of course, depending on what tier, you might get a little something in the mail, access to our giveaways that we do once in a while, or even a chance to do the Patreon listener question. We got a Patreon listener question here today from longtime patron Star Caliber, and he wants to know, hey Protoman, I have a Patreon listener question. I'm currently rewatching Transformers Galaxy Force. I watched it back in the day in its English dub as Transformers Cybertron, but I wanted to check out the original uncensored version. I was thinking back to when I was a kid when I saw Lio Breaker for the first time and was floored by him combining with Optimus. I had the Optimus Cybertron figure, but not the Lio Breaker one, or Leo Breaker, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into later on. My question is, do you have a favorite moment that took you by surprise, whether it be a series, movie, or comic from Transformers, be it a character or characters you were not expecting to see, or some form of combination you didn't see coming? Being so involved with the brand and the fandom with so many people listening, I imagine this makes it hard not to be spoiler free. So I hope this question is not too much of a pain. Thanks for your time, Star Caliber. Well, thank you, Star Caliber, for the question and for the kind words. Man, I have I'm going to do three of them, I guess, because one of them is like my first brush with Transformers, which made a huge impact. One of them was a recent one, not super recent, but probably like the last time I was like, wow, like super shocked at something. And one was probably the most shocked I ever was. So the first one, for sure, 100%, was the first time I saw anything Transformers. Went to see the 86 movie, saw it with my neighbor. Everyone knows this story. And then I am sitting in the theater, and the first real time you really see a epic transformation is Hot Rod. Because Ironhide, he transforms behind that little wall at the entrance. You know, you see Soundwave transform, Megatron transform, little things here and there. Laserbeak, obviously, too. But when you have that, if you're going to ride Dano, ride in style transformation, it was so awesome the way it was done. Just the animation, him landing down and then racing forward, that blew my little mind to pieces. So that was definitely one of the first ones. The second one I'm going to mention is, it actually jumps ahead. It was probably one of the last times I was super surprised by something. And it's a silly one, probably by a lot of people, but it was Dark of the Moon, when Sentinel Prime turned on the Autobots and specifically killed Ironhide. I don't always say how great the movies are. I actually think that a lot of the Michael Bay movies have a lot of flaws. They serve their purpose, definitely, in terms of making the brand extremely popular. But I will say my arrogance got the best of me, because when I went into Dark of the Moon expecting Shockwave to be the main villain, the way the trailers were selling everything, me avoiding spoilers like crazy, although I did see it on the preview screening super early. I got a whole bunch of tickets to see that super early. Funny story with that one, which I'll probably save for another time. I was very lucky to get preview tickets, about 25 of them. But that's a whole other story with Hasbro and them hooking me up. But the point is, went to go see the movie, preview screening, no spoilers, nothing. And here I am going I know who Sentinel Prime is. He was the guy before Optimus. Yeah, he's with the Autobots. He's going to get killed by Megatron or something. Nope, didn't see that coming. When he shot Ironhide in the back and killed him, I literally yelled out in the theater, well, stuff that probably would get me flagged on YouTube. Let's put it that way. Very out loud. So that was definitely a shock to me. I was not expecting that. And I remember after leaving the theater going wow, it's not every day something surprises me like that much. Didn't see that coming at all. And the third one, which was probably the biggest one, the one that had me on the edge of my seat, the one that I didn't know what I was getting myself into, the one that I wasn't expecting, the golden era of the 90s, Beast Wars. So where do I pull this back? Beast Wars aired in Canada on a channel called YTV, and it was called Beasties for people that don't know. And Beasties played on Wednesdays, and it was like a religious day in the Proto Man house on Wednesdays because it was a new episode of Beasties, and I made sure that those Wednesdays were amazing. And it was season 2, 1998, Beasties Wednesday. And once in a while, they would play reruns of the new episodes of Wednesday on Saturdays and stuff like that also. But Wednesdays really were the big day for a new episode. And at the time, YTV was running a contest, or like a voting, if you will, of what is your favorite show on YTV voted by the fans of all the shows on YTV. And it was going all, in March, the voting was going to happen in 1998. And the finals were Reboot and Beasties were the final two. And they were going to announce that the winner was going to be part of the You Rule Spring Break event. And they were going to play 3 brand new episodes on Friday for Beasties or Reboot, whoever wins. And on March 18th, they played Agenda Part 1, which, just having Ravage show up was a big deal already. And as a big, Transformer fan that grew up with G1 and stuff, seeing him come back was a big deal. Same thing like when Possession, when Starscream came back, getting any of those ties to G1 and seeing those characters in any shape or form was a big deal. But with Possession, Starscream was there, but if you blink and you'll miss it, you don't really see his animation model. They showed the Unicron animation model for a split second in Possession. You saw Unicron making an indirect appearance. It wasn't really Unicron, it was the Vok in Other Voices, Part 1 and 2. So, getting any little chunks of Generation 1 was a big deal in Beast Wars at a time when we thought we'd never see those characters ever again, hindsight being 2020, But what happened was Part 1 came out. It was a big deal. That was the Wednesday. And we were like, oh, man, we're going to have to wait 2 weeks for this. But that Friday, on the 20th, was the ending of the You Rule Spring Break event, and they'd announced the winner. And no surprise, in Canada, the number 1 rated show, the number 1 show voted by the fans on YTV, the largest, most famous children's program channel, Beast Wars, aka Beasties, was voted number 1 in 1998. And today, on that Friday, 3 brand new episodes would debut. Oh my God, So they played episode 1 of Part 1 again of Agenda. So technically we didn't get a new episode. We just kind of got that again, but it was because it was going to be parts 1, 2, and 3. I almost feel like it might have been staged, but no, I'm pretty sure Beast Wars won. Beast Wars is amazing. So we got to see Part 1 again. We got to see Part 2, and then we got the amazingness of Agenda Part 3 and its closing scenes. Beast Wars Megatron, seeing the Ark, already shocking, opening up the door to the Ark, entering the Ark, and seeing all of those animation models, all of those CG models, for the first time, seeing them in CG, of Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Starscream, and many others if you look carefully. And just that whole scene as Megatron drags it out, David Kaye doing an absolutely amazing performance. Now I enter these hallowed halls, a conqueror, unwilling as I watch, to follow my namesake's instructions, let it all be down to this, the day of reckoning with those who made us slaves. Incredible scene, and I was on the edge of my seat, seeing these G1 characters that we have not seen in so long, outside of watching old VHS tapes that you would rent from the video store. This is before the days of streaming, before the days of YouTube, before the days of easy episode downloads on torrents or some kind of illegal, person-to-person file sharing. You had to rent a VHS and check it out, and that was the only way you could watch those old episodes. And being able to see those characters again, my goodness, it was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And when that episode ended on that huge cliffhanger, and we weren't going to know what happened until much later, it was just the talk, because as as that Friday came, spring break happened. So we all had time off from high school at the time. I was in high school. And it was just all everyone talked about all spring break. Everyone was freaking out over it. I remember going to play hockey. Yes, I was playing street hockey in Canada. I know it's a stereotype, but it's true. Went to go play street hockey with all my guys, and that's all we were talking about. Did you see Beast Wars? Oh my God. You know, just that final scene. We were losing our minds. Say goodbye to the universe, Maximals. The future changed. Yes, the Autobots lose. Evil triumphs. And you no longer exist. Da, 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 da. To be continued. Amazing. It's still to this day, I still like remember sitting in my living room on the edge of my seat on the couch watching that, being mind blown that these characters were shown on screen. Because even back then we were very well aware, because of characters like Tigatron and Black Arachnia, that they just didn't have the budget to make all these new character models and stuff like that. So if we got anything new, it was a blessing. So that if you would have told me we would get the Arc and it would have all the G1 designs in there and everything, I wouldn't have believed it. So amazing. Absolute, like that just blew my mind. And that was like one of those moments. I mean, there might have been others, but those are like the three that like really surprised me. You know, I could maybe argue a little bit, maybe the arrival of the Autobots in the 2007 movie, but that was just more me watching in awe and going, oh my God, they pulled it off. Because I was so skeptical if, you know, this could have went either way. But I mean, I'm going to go with those for sure. Those, I hope that answers it, but definitely like Beast Wars, Agenda Part 3, just seeing those old Autobot characters for the first time in a long time. My goodness. Great stuff. So I hope that answers that, Star Caliber. Maybe someone else in the comments could probably come up with something better than my answer. But I hope that answers that. And again, if you want to be like Star Caliber and ask an awesome question, or you just want to support the podcast and come join the Patreon, hang out in the Discord, or just have your name in the end credits or whatever. Again, patreon.com/Protoman, or check the pinned comment or the description below. And like I always say, rock out with the robots in disguise, and I'll see you later this week with more Transformer news and updates.